The Citizenship Amendment Act belongs to the family of laws which have been framed by the Modi government after its huge election win this year in 2019. This is a follow-up to the Modi government's, the ruling BJP party's abrogation of Articles 35A and 370 of the Indian Constitution, which took away the rights of the Kashmiris, the special status that had been given to them. The follow-up to it is another promise which was made by Amit Shah, who is the Home Minister of India, where he had said in his election campaign that they would get rid of the termites, namely the Muslim immigrants from Bangladesh. And that is the promise he's trying to deliver up on. Now, when he used words like termites, that was an alarm for everyone who cares about human rights, that what was about to follow. And I think that not a lot of people reacted then. And now that the Citizenship Amendment Act has come into force, just a few days ago, it was known as CAB, Citizenship Amendment Bill. It has set everyone, talking about it. It has alarmed everyone, not only in India, but all across the world. It's making international headlines. So what is the Citizenship Amendment Act? Like I said, it belongs to the same family of laws which are discriminatory in nature, which betray the idea of India as a secular country. And how so? The Citizenship Amendment Act provides for, giving citizenship to Indians, giving Indian citizenship to people who have migrated from other South Asian countries such as Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan. But it creates a lot of communal and religious divide by providing that only followers of the Hindu faith, of the Buddhist faith, Jains, Sikhs and Parsis, only these people coming in from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan would be eligible to be granted Indian citizenship. So it categorically and specifically excludes Muslims from ever gaining Indian nationality, which marginalizes the already marginalized Muslim community in India. India boasts of 200 million Muslim community. They say that they have 200 million Muslim population, but that is exactly the population, regardless of their number, which feel extremely marginalized in the current fascist government that has taken over in India. So this is going to add further fuel to the fire, unfortunately. And it might seem a bit opportunistic that me being a Pakistani, I'm talking about something going on in India, but I'm trying to be as objective as possible when I say that these kinds of laws, they are going to create a lot of communal divide, because India had been saying that religion never factored in. It was never one of the factors which created any sort of division among the population. But when you are specifically targeting one particular population group, trying to favor other population groups, that is going to create a lot of divide. Now, another aspect to Citizenship Amendment Act is that it is going to create disharmony in northeast Indian states, because states like Assam, they are very wary of immigrants, even of non-Muslim faith, coming in from Bengal. So as far as the reaction to this is concerned, it has created a lot of displeasure among the Indian community. Everyone is displeased with it. The Citizenship Amendment Act also complements the idea which had been shared by and which has been implemented, at least in Assam, by Amit Shah, regarding the NRC, the National Register of Citizens, a register which has been compiled, which details the names of those who are treated as Indian citizens and the names of those who do not feature in that list of citizens are going to be rendered stateless. Now, again, this is a discriminatory measure, because the National Register of Citizens is going to exclude those Muslim immigrants who had settled in India before 2015. By excluding those Muslims from the National Register of Citizens, they have been rendered stateless. They are being kept in detention camps, and the situation is getting worse. Now, the Citizenship Amendment Act is just going to further allow the current BJP-RSS alliance ruling India to carry on with excluding more and more Muslims who had settled in India by cutting them off from their citizenship by denationalizing them. What can be said is that this is an extremely alarming situation, perhaps a defeat for those who believed in human rights, who believed in humanitarian causes. And it is all bad news from here until and unless the course of these developments is changed. So there's a lot of displeasure in response to the Citizenship Amendment bill or Citizenship Amendment Act, whatever way you want to call it, on two levels primarily. First of all, like I've said, that the 200 million Muslim population in India, they are already feeling marginalized under the fascist regime of the BJP government. They feel that this law is aimed at rearranging the demography of India by excluding a lot of Muslims who had already settled in India. This law applies to those Muslims and those non-Muslims who had settled before 2015. So by retaining the citizenship of non-Muslims coming in from other Southeast Asian countries and by excluding the Muslim population, this is aimed at rearranging the demography of the country. And a lot of quarters within the Indian society who had been silent about it, like public figures or social media influencers or film personalities, even they are now speaking up, which means that they have reached a point that even these public figures do not quite care about what happens to their careers, what happens to their lives. They want to speak out because this is a breaking point where those with a conscience have realized that silence and keeping silent is criminal. The other area where there is a lot of displeasure is what I've alluded to earlier, that in northeast Indian states, especially West Bengal, Assam, there is a lot of prejudice towards Bengali migrants coming in from Bangladesh, settling into India. They are not supportive of this demographic change. They do not endorse what is going to happen. They perhaps do not want to lose their own indigenous identity. So there are protests going on in those areas as well as in northeastern India, and the Guardian has reported around 6 people have been killed owing to police firing rubber bullets at them, tear gas firing. There has been a lot of chaos. But on the other hand, Delhi saw massive protests and a lot of violence just yesterday, last night, 15 December 2019, when the police force in India, in South Delhi, they had stormed into the Jamia Islamic University. They had stormed into the library. They had started firing tear gas at students, unarmed students I'm talking about. They had gone into the washrooms. There are images and video footage going on around of students lying in washrooms. One of the students has his eye smashed. Then there are images of the police carrying on with the brutal acts on the streets of Delhi. There's a particularly horrific image of a policeman who has crushed the face of a student beneath his boots. These are the kinds of images that are emanating. There's another footage of Muslim girls in a hostel. They are being bullied by police forces. They are standing up to those police forces, and their male colleagues are being beaten up brutally. These are the kind of images that are coming in from India, and one cannot distinguish now between the kind of pictures that we see coming from war-torn countries like Syria and Iraq and India. They have turned even urban India, which to the residents there seemed pretty safe, into war zones. It looks as if you get to see smashed windows. There are pieces of glass shattered. There are blood drops everywhere on the streets. This is what modern day India has become, owing to a very dangerous ideology. And let me add, there are a lot of people that I also know through social media on India, and they are not only Muslims. I'm also talking about non-Muslim Indians, and they are standing up against this brutality. I've just read from one of my Facebook friends who is from India, and she's not even a Muslim, and she has been protesting outside the Delhi police headquarters yesterday. This is the reaction that is followed up, and it isn't something that the international community is oblivious of, or they are unaware of. Like I said, I quoted The Guardian. There are other publications as well. Now this is making international headlines. Even a committee in the US Congress has said that they would be imposing sanctions on BJP leaders, including Amit Shah, if they carry on with their Citizenship Amendment Act. Now is the time that for every single person, regardless of their nationality, regardless of their religious beliefs, to stand up to tell the world that we will not want to return to Nazism, to fascism, because unfortunately, if this becomes acceptable in India, there's a lot of danger that this form of hatred and communal divide might spread in other countries as well. It would act as a signal to all sorts of governments that they can get away with anything that they want to with impunity. And last thing that I would like to add is that we have to be mindful that these pictures that are coming in from India, these images that I've talked about, this is exactly what we do not want to become. And this only happens when a dangerous ideology sets in. So it is upon all of us on an individual level that we have to respect the rights of others, regardless of what their nationality is, regardless of what their belief, what their faith is, regardless of what their ideology is. We have to respect one another as human beings first, because these rights to life and to live with dignity are inalienable.
We're really excited to share fantastic content with you
on all the fun topics.
Please subscribe to our channel by
clicking on the subscribe button below.